ever get this, like, eerie feeling? That, like, even the most ordinary places, they can hide these, like, really unsettling secrets.
No, absolutely.
Today, we're diving into a mystery. It all went down in a regular house, in Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah, Springfield.
Back in 92, 3 women gone, vanished, no trace.
And it's those everyday details, well, the lack of them, really, that makes this whole thing so baffling.
Totally. It's like, poof, someone hit the pause button on their lives. Investigators, families, everyone's left, like, reaching for ghosts. For decades, this has gone on.
Decades, yeah.
We're talking about the Springfield Three. Sherrill Levitt, she was a single mom.
Right.
Her daughter, Suzie,
Uh-huh.
and Susie's friend, Stacy McCall.
Right.
Sherrill, she's 47, worked as a hairdresser.
Yeah, well known around town.
Suzie, she just finished high school, ready for, the next chapter and all that.
Yeah.
And Stacy, she was 18, full of life, about to start her own adventures. June 6, 1992. It's a date Springfield won't forget. It started with, graduation parties.
Yeah, celebrations.
Time for looking ahead. Not for mysteries that had haunted the town for years.
Right, nobody knew.
The last anyone saw of Suzie and Stacy, it was at one of those parties.
Graduation night.
They were going to crash at a hotel, eventually.
Typical. Yeah.
But then, like young friends do, they changed their minds.
But are the moment.
Around 2:05 in the morning, they decide, hey, let's head back to Susie's.
It's her mom's, yeah.
Cheryl was already asleep.
Right.
Seemed like, I don't know, a totally normal thing to do at the time.
Sure, yeah.
But that, my friend, that ordinary decision, that was the beginning of a mystery that just won't quit.
Because when their friends went to the house the next morning,
Yeah.
what they found, it was chilling.
Yeah.
Set off alarm bells that haven't stopped ringing since.
Okay, so picture this. You walk into a house, right? And everything seems eerily normal.
Too normal.
The TV's on. A light's still burning. Purses. Just like they were left.
Undisturbed.
Even Cheryl's bed.
Made.
It's like they just, I don't know, disappeared.
Into thin air. Cars were still there.
No way.
Outside. The family dog, Cinnamon.
Oh, no.
He was inside, totally fine.
Okay.
No forced entry, no signs of a struggle, nothing out of place, except, of course, for them.
Gone. It's wild, right? Like, you see that in the movie, but this is real life.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so unsettling. There's no script, no easy answers, just this heavy silence where there should be clues.
And that silence, it just makes the mystery even bigger.
Exactly. It's like, where do you even start? Was it planned out, this disappearance? Or was it like a spur-of-the-moment thing? Did something happen in that house? Or were they taken somewhere else? So many possibilities.
And those questions have been eating at investigators for decades. One of the theories, and it gives me chills just thinking about it, is this guy, Robert Craig Cox.
Yeah, Cox. His name's practically glued to this case. When the women disappear, he was actually already locked up for murder down in Florida.
Whoa. Okay, so he was already a convicted murderer.
Yep. But here's the creepy part. They let him out, and guess where he moved?
Springfield. No way.
Springfield.
Yeah.
Not long before Sherrill, Suzie, and Stacy vanished.
Okay, that's seriously freaking me out. So, did they ever prove he was involved? Like, connect him to the case directly?
That's the frustrating thing, It's like, he's right there, but there's no smoking gun, no hard proof.
So frustrating.
Right. But get this, Cox, he starts making these claims, saying he knows what happened to them, even where they're buried, and that nobody will ever find them.
Keep toying with them.
Exactly. Just throws more fuel on the fire.
Okay, so we've got Cox, but then there's also that whole green van thing, right? People reported seeing it around the time the women vanished. What's the deal with that?
The green van is like this ghost story that everyone in Springfield seems to know. Witnesses said they saw a van like that around Sherrill's place, even driving super erratically.
Like speeding away. That sounds like a huge lead. Did they ever find the van? Or who was driving?
Nope. Dead end. We've got reports, descriptions. But the green van, it's like it vanished, too.
So was it connected? Or just a coincidence?
Who knows? That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yep. We've got a convicted killer in town, a mystery van, and then the house itself. It's like normal, but in a creepy way. Were there any other theories about what might have happened that night?
Well, think about it. No forced entry. Everything seemed untouched inside. It made some investigators think, what if the women knew whoever took them? someone they trusted enough to let into the house.
Whoa, that's even scarier, that it could be someone they knew. Were there any clues that pointed to someone they might have known being involved?
Remember those weird phone calls Sherrill was getting before she disappeared?
Yeah, what about them?
Well, they never said exactly what was said, but those calls, they were really freaking her out.
So maybe the calls were from the person who took them.
It's possible, right? Maybe the calls hold some kind of clue, a connection to someone with a grudge, someone who wanted to hurt them.
It's like every time we get a possible answer, it just makes things more confusing. What about the idea of more than one person being involved? Could it have been a group?
Oh, yeah. Investigators toss that idea around, too. It's like adding another layer of complexity to an already impossible puzzle. Could more than one person have taken those women without leaving a trace?
I mean, the house looked untouched.
Right. So either they were incredibly careful or something else is going on that we just don't understand.
It feels like we're hitting dead end after dead end. And as we dig into this, one thing's for sure, this isn't just about what happened in that house. This has affected so many lives.
Yeah.
Families, the community, everyone's been touched by this, by not knowing. I can't even imagine to have something like this hanging over you, just wondering for years. Sherrill, Suzie, Stacy's families, they've been living with that for decades.
Stacy's mom, Janice McCall, she's been incredible, fighting for answers, never giving up hope for her daughter and for Suzie and Sherrill, too.
It's amazing, really, that kind of strength, that love. But after all this time, you have to wonder, what are the odds of actually finding out what happened?
Time makes things tough, it's true. Evidence disappears, literally. Memories get fuzzy. But even so, there's always hope. Look, remember the green van. People still come forward, even now. New tips, possible sightings.
Wow, really?
Yeah, you just never know what tiny detail might be important. It could be the key to the whole thing.
Like finding a missing piece of a puzzle. Speaking of, you mentioned earlier that the investigation, well, that things weren't handled perfectly at the beginning. Could that have messed things up? Like,
Yeah.
made it harder to find those missing pieces?
It's definitely possible. Remember how the house was so undisturbed? Well, it turns out family and friends, when they got there,
Yeah.
they were frantic, right? They started cleaning up. They wanted to find the women, so they tidied up a little, used the phone, even cleaned up some broken glass on the porch from the light.
Oh, no, they didn't.
It makes sense in the moment, but thinking back, it could have wiped away fingerprints, DNA, who knows what else.
Oh, man, that's just awful. They were trying to help, and it might have backfired. So we've got a mystery, a race against time, and on top of it, key evidence could be gone. It's like a nightmare, except it really happened.
And that's what gets people, I think, these stories. It reminds us that bad things happen, even in normal places, even when people are just living their lives. And sometimes there aren't easy answers.
The not knowing, that's got to be the hardest part.
It really is. If anyone out there knows anything about what happened to Sherrill, Suzie, and Stacy, please call the Springfield Police Department. Even the smallest detail could be what brings them home.
Their story.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds us that some questions, they just linger, even after the lights go out.
Mm-hmm.
So until next time, keep asking those questions, keep searching for those answers. You never know what might help crack the case.